Good morning, Elizabeth. Good morning, Jubril. Uh, so I'm going to start to record the videos from the model Cereal and Vegetable Food Technology. You can watch the video accommodating on your day as we think that's much better. Then we have the activities. I will describe everything that you need to do. But before I start to really talk about cereals and vegetables, I want to give a brief introduction about the raw materials. Because when we are talking about we have that are the primary ingredients, and this type of ingredients that we define in the quality, taste, texture, and the end nutritional value that we have on the products. On the group, we are focusing more so far on the milk technology because we are surrounded by the camels. So we are working a lot of the camel milk food technology. But the food science technology is not limited to that. We could even be combining the camel milk with other vegetables and other food methods to produce an end product that has higher added value. Uh, like we could be blending the cacao with the camel milk and doing a cocoa beverage on the end that will be combining vegetables and dairy products to have a higher value product on the end. So we need to understand from the basics, from the beginning of the chain, to arrive on the end of the chain, to understand how we can combine them to take the best parts, the advantages that each one of the products has, to bring that to the end of the chain. Like the categories that you have are four, mainly. You know that very well, but just to highlight again, we have vegetables matrix, fruits, tubers, legumes. We have cereal matrix, wheat, maize, rice, and others. Dairy, of course, the key properties that we have for this material. We need to evaluate the suitable for processing, concerning the nutritional part, sensory part, and physical properties. Nutrition composition. Each product has its own composition related to carbohydrates, proteins, fats, vitamins, minerals. Carbohydrates, proteins, and fats compose the macronutrients part, and vitamins, minerals are the micronutrients. Besides the water content that be not be classified or macro or micronutrients. When we have a matrix, we want to know, we need to know what we are targeting on the end. We are targeting just to transform food and have food available, or we want to have some special properties on this food. We can have, like we share for targeting protein content, For us, it's very important to have the amount of protein that's available, and during the transformation, the processing, to keep that protein that will be available, so you don't want to start or to produce oxidation process on protein oxidations during the processing. That's one of the reasons that we are targeting also in our group the part of the emerging technologies that are being applied to food processing, because we are trying to extend the shelf life without damage the part of the nutrition composition. We are trying to preserve macro and micronutrients. So far, of course, mainly proteins, but also we are trying to preserve that and extend shelf life. Then we have the sensory properties, because consumers, even if we say the food is very relevant on the nutritional aspects, how they choose the food. They choose because it's attractive, it's colorful, and it's tasty. If the we have these four main types of food sources or the raw materials, and we can link with the challenge that we have to have this raw material available. Then this is the connection that we may make related to the climate change, supply chain, also some ethical concerns, environmental sustainability, and so on. When we're talking about climate change, when we have a plant, as a growing plant, it needs water, needs quality water, cannot be saline water. The climate, the temperature that these plants need to be cultivated. There's an optimal temperature. Can be 20 degrees, can be 50, no, not 50, but 40 something. So each crop it has its own optimal temperature. So if the climate change, of course, the crops that we're able to produce or to plant will be changing. So if we want to have rice here in South Morocco, is it suitable? Is it manageable? The rice needs water because that's how the cultivation is done. And needs to be clean water. And here in South Morocco, as you know, we have saline water. Concerning the supply chain disruptions, we need to deliver out these raw materials to a place where this transformation would be made. Can be a cooperative, can be an industry, can be any type of transformation setups. To deliver this material, you need to do the transportation for this material to somewhere. To that, we need the roads, we need airplane transportations, we need boats or something that we can make this logistics for the distribution. You are coming and going back each day from Layun City Center to ASARI. We know that we have the sand. Uh, so we have the challenge. So the mission that we have with the food product development and innovation would be to target that and also to have a new food products on the end. If you have these logistics, it's a major concern. We can do the transformation of the food that will be standard of life, and then we are able to have more time to deliver this food to the public that's needed or to our end consumers. Also, we have the impact of food product development and innovation that can have diverse raw materials, enabling the creation of unique and health-focused and functional food products. We are not only have the milk, we have all the surrounds from the milk. So we can have butter, we can have whey protein, we can have yogurt, we can have several other products. Not only for the milk, of course, it's the major focus from the group so far, and we are starting to target the vegetable cereals with the arrival of the two of you. And also we need also to be thinking about the consumer preference. four main types of raw materials, the raw sources. As you know, we have vegetables, cereals, we have milk, and meat. We can classify then also and increase the types of the classifications. We can have oils, we can have tobaccos. So, the vegetables are major sources of vitamins, minerals, fibers, and antioxidants. They are used in fresh way, processed ways, and as functional food products. And they are critical for human health and disease prevention. That's what people say, but what do you know about that? Uh, each vegetable, each legume, each vegetable cereal has its own unique composition. So the major classifications say vegetables, that's it. But each one there's a specific composition, different behave on the human health. So even if we are classifying like the major considerations of the vegetables, each one is unique. So you need also to be targeting the iron content of these vegetables that are different from the other one. And what do you want on the end product? You want to target the anemics, so you will be sourcing for vegetables that has more iron content. On the other hand, you're thinking about the protein content, so we are targeting the sources that has more these macronutrients. We can be also all time be sourcing about thinking about one specific micronutrient, one vitamin, one mineral, or the major main composition about the macronutrients as well. The vegetables they serve as core ingredients in many food products, from salads, the simple ones that you may have as a combination from the vegetables, and less processed that you may have found, to processed snacks and functional foods, and be combined with the other raw material sources to produce end of the The vegetable consumption patterns on the road. The global vegetable consumption patterns are shifting due to growing awareness of the health benefits of vegetables and the changing on the dietary preference. However, the consumption may change a lot between the regions on the globe. The power of the community, of course, the cultural behavior as well, and the traditions, religion, and other approaches that may be changing this pattern for consumption. Factors like urbanization, economic development, and cultural preference are the three main ones. And we can even be doing a complete study only. Concerning the consumption that we have from the legumes around the vegetables around the planet, we have here some small data about some countries. I try to take some target numbers from not from Africa. I could not find from Nigeria, so I have the specific data. There's only the average. But for example, Botswana as a representative from Africa, let's say. So in 1961, we had 60 kilos, is almost nothing. So it's very short consumption of vegetables on this country on the years 1961, and increased a lot when we are talking about 2022. Increased the consumption of the on more than 250%. We see this type of patterns in all the countries. Brazil, we had a good consumption from the year 1961, and we doubled to 2022. But Botswana and Brazil, we can see that we're seeing on more or less in the same average, around 60, 50 kilos. And when we talk about Morocco, something really curious because they had also already good consumption of vegetables. And then on the year 2022, they increased on 150% the amount. And now we see this number, almost 90 kilos per person. And how we justify that? We justify by the way the Moroccans eat. The tagine, the couscous, and all of the type of foods are vegetables. So on their diets, on the Moroccan diets, the vegetables are a major source. So that's why we have this huge number here compared to the other countries. When we see the consumption of per country of the daily consumption of 5 portions of or more fruit and vegetables, and the last data that I found was from 2019, and this is only for Europe mainly. We have Ireland, more than 33% of the country population are consuming And when we see that pattern of consumption, of course, is linked to the availability of the food itself. So the challenge in the global vegetable supply chain is the same that we have for the entire value chain of the food supply chain. We have the climate change, supply chain disruptions, and economic challenge. So of course, one part of the continent, continent, not only the continent, but the globe, will be consuming more vegetables because they can source that. They can have the logistics to have that available for the community. So the climate change will be impacting the crop production itself and the type of vegetables that can be available on the market. So we have some crops that are resistant to some conditions, others that are more sensitive. So the climate change, it will change the patterns of the production, and of course, it will change the type of vegetables that we can supply to the market. And of course, if you have different types of vegetables available, the the valorized product on the end also will be changing because we have this raw material that we need to source, produce, to have this production on the end. These supply chain disruptions, we faced this problem with some materials that we are purchasing for the group, like the lyophilizer. We had some storms in the north part of the country from Morocco, and we cannot deliver from our lyophilizer from the north part of the country to the south because the boats there that are doing the transportation between the south of Spain to the north of Morocco were closed. So that affects our device. We are researchers, so on our side, we're all time looking for gaps on the literature, what we can cover, and how we can contribute to the humanity. So, when we talk about supply chains, is this challenge or what are available in the market? Only this is small part, let's say, from the challenge that we're trying to target on our group can be already a topic for some articles, for some research. And here I have two examples. The first article is the Sustainability Challenge of Fresh Food Supply Chains, an Integrative Framework. That was published 2024, 2024. So it still is a new article. So we have some gaps that we can also be targeting and trying to address or at least to understand how it works. This article was targeting more or talking about more in general. Uh, the vegetables. Each type of raw material has its own composition, its own value from physical properties, processing skills, technical functional skills, or aptitudes, and the vegetables, when I talk about nutritional value and chemical composition, you meet the E there. The vegetables are rich in essential nutrients, mainly including vitamins, minerals, very good, and also some dietary fiber, while still being like low in calories. Some consumers, they all time are asking about how many calories we have that on that food, the calories from side. Uh, the calories don't reflect the nutritional composition of the food. Just give the energy value. So when we are evaluating the quality of one food, we need to see the vitamins that are there, the minerals that are there, even the fat, if the fats are a good quality fat with omega-3, 6, 9, or it's only about the uh, fat without like a trans fat. So that we need to be also targeting and be thinking about. So vegetables, they are rich in fibers. There's some antioxidant compounds and some vitamins like A, C, K that you can find more on these vegetables, on this type of food than on the animal sources food. Low calories, if people are going on a diet for getting lose weight, could be something interesting. But also be linked to the type of the cultural behavior of the community. I think that you could already observe on this when you go out on the street here in South Morocco that the shape of the bodies of the community are different from what I imagine that you may have as a standard. So there's a cultural behavior. So we need to have respect that, but at the same time propose some health approach that could be good concerning and considering uh, the profile that I have from the community. Also, vegetables may support immune function, digestion, and also the heart health. The composition depends, of course, on the type of the vegetables and also on the growing conditions. We had some studies that were held here at ASARI that we had the same plant, the same seed that were grown, we used to be growing under different salinity, yeah, Here also, concerning the composition of these vegetables, we may produce some data. I suppose that two of you are gonna have in this type also of tables on the end. Studying, checking, verifying the vegetables composition, yeah, concerning its nutritional quality and the health benefits. Here we have a review that was done in 2012, so it's okay, it's a little bit old, 20 years, 13 years, but it's not that old, so it's still suitable. And we have nutritional quality and health benefits of some vegetables. Not all of them are being covered, and especially when we are targeting indigenous crops or crops that are specifically cultivated in one country, still is not covered. We can also target that and be producing some good articles about this specific approach. This is a really nice article, so I recommend you also to read this one. Then you can have some insights, some ideas on how you can continue on your thesis and your research projects. We have this table of the fruits and veggies nutrition. We can have types of veggies and fruits. The major compounds that we all time are listing or talking about: calories, just the energy that this food is providing us; fat, carbs, fiber, net carbs, sugars, and protein. More about the macronutrients. Here are some veggies, here are some fruits, and we can compare. When I talk about vegetables, one important part is about the phytochemicals and bioactive compounds that they have on their own composition. They have a range of bioactive compounds that will be offering the health benefits like antioxidants, anti-inflammatory properties, also some health related like to prevent diseases like the anti-cancer properties. And of course, they have also some bioactive compounds that are not that interesting to be there, like anti-nutritional factors, for example. And of course, each vegetable has its own class and compounds of phytochemicals and biochemicals compounds. We may find on the literature several articles in journals and papers and book chapters discussing the properties in general from the vegetables, what they have on their composition. And also you can have some law like consensus like this book chapter that's about phytochemicals in fruits and vegetables. There's a good approach because we'll be discussing the difference that we have on this in general, what we may find there, and also some tables that can specify according to each type of the vegetables and fruits what they have inside. We have several classes and ways to classify the phytochemicals that are on the vegetables. One of the classifications that I like because it's clear how the type of uh, we have some studies that try to guide the consumers on what type of food they need to eat and how they can choose this food. This is one of the publications that I found that was really nice because they're classifying the phytochemicals according to the color, and they're classifying according to the color and make the correlation to the rainbow. And they said that they eat a rainbow of fruits and vegetables, like orange color foods like carrots, cantaloupe, squash. You have carotenoids because that's what give the orange color to the food. The red, blue, and purple colored foods like eggplant, red cabbage. We have antioxidants. Everybody says that if you want to have a health diet, we need to eat vegetables, fruits, uh, and that's true because when we're talking about the health benefits of vegetable consumption, of course we cannot limit our diet only vegetables. We need the meat, we need some fat, we need the diverse type of food. But talking about the health benefits of vegetables, we may generalize in the consumption of a variety of vegetables daily will help to reduce the risk of some diseases like the heart diseases, diabetes. And to prove the advantages of the health benefits linked to the vegetables, we may also find some publications. This first one that was published in 2012 is discussing that health benefits of fruits and vegetables. Sometimes we are searching for gaps in the literature or what we can target on the research or think about fancy stuff that we can do in the lab. But sometimes the studies that need to be done are simple like that, to discuss the health benefits of fruits and vegetables. And for our case, Africa, Morocco, Nigeria, even Brazil, we can discuss about the health benefits of the indigenous fruits that we find here, indigenous crops, that this is still there's uh, there's some types of foods that are more linked to one type of end of the chain food than the others. Of course, if you think about meat, we can think about barbecue. But if you think about vegetables, what are the common vegetable-based foods products that we have? We have a right, big, huge range of food products. They're versatile. They can do several types of other types of derivative foods. Some examples: soup, juice, salads. When is talking to one consumer that saying that they need to be eating more the discussion about the type of vegetables, how it can behave as ingredients, also can be a target for another publications. And not only a publication, this was a topic for one entire book. That was this book, Plant-Based Food Ingredients, Technology and Health Aspects. I shared the link there, so I think that some chapters are open to be accessed. And it was really interesting because we have more than 100one good approach that you have nowadays with the vegetable studies is the functional foods. This part of functionality is being deeply studied, not deeply, but is more the tendency of the studies that we're seeing on the last less than 10 years, but most recently on the last 5 years. The vegetables are increasingly used in functional foods, offering benefits beyond the nutrition. We know about Here are some articles that was published about these benefits. Food Bioscience is a good journal that you have on the field of food science and technology. In this article, the authors are discussing about the plant-based functional foods, innovation, and for future perspectives. Translating this approach of this publication, we have some food here. I cannot see if the point work for you or not. But there are some commercial products that we have on the market, not in the Moroccan market, not in the African market, but in the United States you can find these, Europe you can find this type of products. They are a little bit expensive yet, and also one of the tendencies of the market is to produce this type of food with the reduce the cost. And we can also have some studies that are dedicated for a specific country, like this one, plant-based functional foods from Borneo, a very specific country, very specific region. But we can also have plant-based functional foods from Morocco, from Nigeria, and that can help to improve the data that you have on the publication in the scientific way. Uh, some vegetables can also have help on the protein part, because one of the constraints that we will discuss when we talk about vegetables is the lack of the proteins, the fat. They have mostly the minerals and vitamins, but they are not well known about the macronutrients part. Some specific vegetables, mostly legumes, also can be a good source of plant protein, about proteins. But the way that process this type of foods needs to be well think to don't promote the oxidation of this protein, and also to keep the quality of the food on the chain, so to keep the good quality of this protein. Here's one overview about the plant-based protein sources. We have the beans and legumes, broccoli, chickpeas, oats, nuts and seeds. Oats and seeds, these nuts are very well known in Morocco. Morocco seeds a lot of them. Soy milk, now we can see on the market. Tofu, not that very common on the African market, but mostly in Asia, you can see more. We can see here, but it's not that common. Spinach, peas, and here a table to compare the vegan protein, the amount that you can find per portion per 100 grams. Peas, 5 grams, 5%, not that bad. we can have also some publications as usual. This one is a book chapter talking about vegetable proteins and evaluating the nutritional value, sustainability, and giving some insights and some future perspectives. We have association also that discuss only the part of the vegetable proteins. Is association, a European one, and they are targeting this point, which vegetable provide more protein in the quality of the amino acids generated using these. Each type of food has its unique concerns and restrictions, and the issues with the vegetables, also with the quality control, starts with the post-harvesting. Actually starts with the production or the crop production, but it's not on the food science technology approach. So for us, the concerns start on the post-harvesting. Also how to handle these vegetables to not promote any injury or smash that can be damage the vegetable on the end, and how to deal to reduce the waste. Because shelf life without the processing is too short. So we need a proper storage, some temperature control to try to minimize the mechanical damage during transportation, and to use alternative ways to use as much as you can for what was produced. So you will need waste reduction strategies like composting or byproduct utilization. This byproduct utilization could be for producing energy or forage for the animals, but also can be dedicated to produce other types of food for humans. For example, if you have an apple that was suffering a small injury during the transportation, it's not bad for the consumption. It's a good vegetables. The macrobiological load is fine, but the shape is not good anymore, and we cannot produce something that's like using its natural source way. So we can do like jelly, for example. So it'll be a byproduct because we have this injury on the beginning. That could be an approach. Of course, if you can source the apples, just produce jelly. It will not be a byproduct, but it will be the main product. So it depends on the type of product, on the moment that we're discussing that on the chain. For the vegetables, we have some main processing methods that are commonly used. Uh, of course, if you have a vegetable, you have like a potato, you have the peel, and you need to peel it. So peel first, then we need to cut, then you have the oxidation for the darkening that will be happening. So we need to prevent that using a blanching. For the conservation, we may have freezing, drying, canning. If you want to transform it, always all at the same time promote. Here we have the blanching of green beans. It's a very simple process. So I have the green beans there, hot water, then we eliminate the hot water and we put on a cold bath. Then we have the dehydration of tomatoes. We can shrink or we just dry with slices, and this is the final appearance. This type of approach I think is really nice in Africa, especially in Lyon or the surroundings where we are, because we have the sun, it's free for us, and there's some optimizations from so the main preservation techniques. Uh, about the preservation of the food matters, the vegetable matters, we may have some publications dedicated to the general classification, like the vegetable conservations, or specific for one type of crop. You can have like a vegetable canning, how it works. We can have like for apple fermentation, how it works, and the discussion about that. So here we have one publication about fermented vegetables, the health benefits, the effects, and current technological solutions. Talk about vegetable fermentations in general. Some articles discuss that when we do the fermentation, we'll have the increase on the health benefits of this product, but we can link it also to some defects and that may damage the vegetable that we want to preserve. Then we have the traditional fermented pickles, how the morphological diversity is associated with the nutritional and health benefits. We have these traditionally fermented pickles because we have the traditional fermented system. We may have some innovations, and that's where the scientific part plays roles, or it's where we find ourselves. Uh, some innovations specifically dedicated to the vegetables would be like freeze drying. We are on the group all the time talking about spray drying, freezing drying. We're waiting our freeze dry to arrive, our lyophilizer to arrive. And the freeze, the cold chains are good because preserves the nutritional part and can extend shelf life. When we do the freeze drying, we reduce the water, the free water, so we can extend shelf life because we reduce the water that available for the microbes to spoil. We can have some pressing, like cold press juicing. It's also much the same approach, using the cold, because then we can have already the product ready to be used, that's the right juice, and at the same time we retain the vitamins and enzymes. When we produce, for example, the orange juice, all the time people are saying that we have the vitamin C, but we're oxidizing immediately because the oxygen, etc. And this process, and when we use the cold pressing, we can extend the duration that vitamin C is available and can be absorbed in the human body. Another way that we can explore. You can have also the high pressure processing that will be extending the shelf life without using the heat. Here we have the publications about the types of processing. Here we have the first one about freeze drying for the reduction of fruits and vegetables chain losses. Sustainable solution to produce potential health promoting food applications. That's a good way to go about the freeze drying. Uh, uh, but then we need to do the part of the cost, evaluate the costs associated to that. Because freeze drying, of course, we have energy there. The device is not cheap, so it's an option, but we need to judge if it's the good option to be choosing which type of situation. Elizabeth is good on that, evaluate the common part. And here we have the appearance of some freeze drying products. So we have the pineapple, watermelon, melon. Another concern or question when we talk about the vegetables is the sustainability, and especially the sustainability linked to the sourcing. So we are now at the side, also we are trying to target that uh, and try to reduce the footprint and also to have some fair trade and eco-friendly practice. Especially here, we are targeting to try to reduce the water need and also to have products, crops that has the pesticide resilience. Uh, of course, we are MCSP, we are linked to OCP, so we are using fertilizers. But especially us at ASARI, we are on this land that we have salinity, and of course, not all crops are growing here, and we have the water scarcity. So So provide food sustainability is a current challenge as big as protecting nature and facing climate change. So we are thinking a lot about sustainability and to be able to keep the production existing and considering the constraints that each part of the road are facing. Uh, Here we have a list of societies that are labeled as like sustainable conscious, and we have these companies that they made some commitments about the gas emission, the type of sources that they're using for as raw materials, not only for the food industry, but for all the processors that makes these for producing furniture, cars, whatever. So we have this challenge and commitment about the sustainability. And us on the food sector, of course, also. And in our case, is this part of sustainability of the raw material sources and the type of processing that we are using to reduce the carbon footprint and ensure the safety of the and security of the economy that we may have also on our products. Moving for another topic related to the vegetables is about the packaging that are using for the vegetables products. I mentioned about plastics, vacuum packaging, but we have some innovations that are being applied or researched about the vegetables conservation. And the main goal is to target the preservation of the vegetable products, mainly the raw one, to ensure the safety and also to all time be extending shelf life. When we are able to extend shelf life, we are able to deliver this food to the people that are far from the processing units or from the where the crop are being produced. So we are searching for new ways to extend the shelf life, and the packaging ways is one way, of course. And the packaging, we can have some innovations inside. We can be the package itself. We have the paper, the uh, plastic bags, we have the aluminum, but also the inside, we can have the atmosphere that's inside the packaging and others that are all related to the packaging innovations. We can develop new materials, some markets are interested to have some biodegradable materials and also recyclable options. And associated to that, to the thermosphere. So we may have like modified atmosphere packaging, all times trying to extend shelf life. And also because the concerns of the consumers nowadays, they want something that are eco-friendly. So we need to preserve, so you need to also to have a container, because sometimes you cannot just pick like one grain of maize. We need to have the container to be assembling all the portion of the food. And then to extend shelf life. So we are trying to have some new materials. On the group so far, we are not targeting the food packaging, but you could also be working on that to produce biodegradable plastic bags or other type of containers. And the way that we're preserving the food. For both of you, it would be important to be targeting a little bit about the packaging, but not to develop the packaging itself, but to try to see the effect that we have for the packaging on the preservation of the nutritional composition of the food that we are developing. If you want to keep the vitamins, more vitamins than the minerals, because they're the ones that are more suitable for the oxidation, we need to ensure that you have a barrier to protect this food. Like it can be a glass, plastic bag, or could be other types of waste. Also the color, do you need something that's transparent or you need something that can block the light? Then we can protect this composition that you are developing. Also the convenience for the consumers. On my grandma's age, the packaging was the big portions because people used to cook at home, so you buy more the raw materials, so the transformation at home, the processing at home, and they buy for the month, so they need big bags to do this processing at home, and because the families were bigger as well. Now we have smaller portions or smaller the options that are available on the market, not limiting and avoiding the big ones, but the smaller ones are available that didn't exist before, because the consumers now need that. So also the size of and the shape of the packaging is something important. And from the last 20 years, let's say, we have some small changes on the packaging that we can see dedicated to kids. Like not only the size but also to be colorful and to be attractive to the kids. There's some difference that you can see on the color, shape, and also the figures that you can see draw on the packaging, because we have now the publics that we are targeting. We can have elderly or adults. We don't care too much about if there's a dinosaur that does draw there or not. But when we talk about kids and we want to deliver health food to them, we need to encourage them to consume it. So a way to do that is to make draws, or we insert some games or something that they can play. And that's all related to the packaging of the vegetables. We may see on the market several types of packaging, especially when we go to Europe or North America. I can see even more types. Here, at least in Lyon surroundings, we are more limited to the traditional plastic one, the paper one. There's a bunch. Here are some researches about the packaging applied to the vegetables. Here, the journal is food packaging and shelf life, and the publications research progress in the preservation and packaging of fruits and vegetables, from traditional methods to innovative technologies. So it was exactly what I just said, and a publication from 2024. So it's still new, 2 years of this publication, and they were still discussing about that. We can target also what the type of packaging that we need to be applying to extend shelf life of the indigenous crops, for example. If you see on the literature, there's a lack of data on that. Then we can also have some application for smart packaging in fruit and vegetables preservation. This smart packaging is something really nice. The smart packaging is something that can indicate to us this how the food that is inside how it is. Is it still good for consumption? Is it already spoiled, or how is the quality? So this is market packaging give this feedback for the consumers, and it's an easy way to interpret it. There's no complicated data. It's just the colors saying the red is a red flag that the consumer should not be consuming that. Green flag good, orange one say like it's on the limit, it's just good to be consumed, but soon be expiring. So it's really good. Here too, some types of packaging that we can find on the market. We have these boxes for transportation. That's more for to be a container. So we to assemble the amount of food to be delivered, not one Royal Gala apple each time, but a set of apples at the same time. And about the convenience of the food, sometimes we can find some solutions that we cannot understand why they deliver them. Like here, like these are bananas. So I have the peeled bananas inside a container. For me, it's no sense because you're just switching the natural packaging that was the peel from the bananas for another packaging that's detrimental to the environment, because here with the plastic bags, so sometimes we do some weird stuff related to the research and also to what we can find on the market. So it can be reasonable what we're proposing. But anyway, you can find that somewhere. About vegetables. So the vegetables, they have properties, and we can extract these properties to be using on a convenient way for us, us as a food processor. So vegetables has functional ingredients, and we can extract that to be using on a convenient way. The vegetable itself we can transform to flowers, or we can extract some compounds, we can use as raw material, and the functional properties associated with this material be used with the vegetable on the entire shape. And the main ones that are linked to the health benefits and that are aiming and targeting to be used as much as we can is the dietary fibers that are good for the digestion and the good health, antioxidants to prevent the cell damage, to support the immunal function for the human body. And now the tendency about the plant proteins as a sustainable alternative to animal-based proteins. Plant-based proteins was already quite well explored in Africa, but about this tendency about the vegan, vegetarians, now it starts to be even more developed about the plant proteins and the claim about plant proteins. So that's a good way to go as well about research and about the market. Here are some publications about the functional ingredients from agri-food waste and the effects of inclusion of phenolic compounds and the possibility in bakery products. I like this article because first they are using the food waste. On this case, they were talking about peels, seeds, and this kind of waste that you have when you are using the vegetables. And they are running until the end of the chain. So they're using these as ingredients and studying on the bakery. So I think that was bread that they did, or cookies, I don't remember. A good way to go. So your valorize, they are targeting at the same time sustainability, the full valorization of the product, and still the health claims, and to produce something that's good. That's bakery products. Then we have another publication about the plants derived by active compounds as functional food ingredients and food preservation, food preservative. So we can extract these compounds to produce ingredients to be used in reprocessing for production of other foods, and also to use just as antimicrobials or antioxidants that can be used as in, like let's say, an additive to preserve the food itself. So here are some products, like they can be used as preservatives and are natural, like spices, garlic. Garlic, these are really good because the conservation for the products that are produced using garlic as spicy is impressive. In Brazil, we use a lot of beans, and we have the white beans and black beans. And Brazilians use a lot of garlic, and there's some studies saying about the preservation of the Brazilian beans used with and without spices. And the spice that I talk about is the garlic. So you can see the difference on shelf life as well. And so, as researchers, we talk about innovation all the time, and we have some vegetable innovations that are translated to the market. Uh, as I said before, now the tendency of the market is to use plant proteins. So we have the plant-based ingredients to deliver these proteins and other types of products, of course. One example of the type of the vegetables usage that we are seeing on the market are tendencies like plant-based burgers or plant-based sausage and other types of the replacing traditional meat products by analog using plants. Like plant-based burgers is the most typical one. And to replace or to produce these products, we are using vegetables like peas, soy, and sometimes mushrooms. Um, the taste, of course, is not the same from the animal sourced one, uh, but in terms of nutritional aspects, it's quite good. And there's the growing market demand for these plant-based food products. Uh, and it's a versatile. We can source different types of vegetables, have different types of vitamins, minerals, and on the end product. Of course, I have publications about that, like plant-based innovations for the transition to sustainability. Uh, when people talk about to replace the meat products, about the vegetable ones, they're talking about sustainability because and the animal welfare. Sometimes the approach is correct, sometimes not that much. But on this case, plant-based innovations, thinking about the sustainability. A recent publication, 2022, and here we can see these vegetables foods that are trying to replace the animal traditional ones. Like here have some type of milk uh, from oats, from almonds, of course, to replace the milk. Uh, and here we have some beef or that are plant-based um, ground meat, just meat from plants. But when you see the shape and or the photo look, it's quite real. Like if you didn't know, could be thinking that's a real burger. And we have another publication here talking about plant-based foodstuff. This was a special edition from a journal talking about different types of plant-based foodstuffs that they may help and discussing about shelf life, the raw material sources, etc. To end this first part, I have an activity for you. So we are only two. So one of you will be working with the one team and another one of another topic. And of course, the discussion will be about vegetables. So one will be focused on a vegetable-based snack. Can be vegetable crisp, chips, dried, whatever you want. The second one will be on a vegetable-based smooth or drink, just to have two types of approach. And what I want that you think is about the key vegetables ingredients that you need to produce this vegetable product. Uh, Try to evaluate nutritional content and the health benefits that may be associated to this product. The challenge in sourcing the raw material that you may need, that like is linked to the season, is linked to the water from the soil, whatever you can figure out. and the possible methods for the processing of this food. If it's drying, it's freezing, is frying, or it's just extraction. How you're gonna preserve that, if you need a packaging, the type of packaging, and that if it's how we can adapt that to the local context. If you take like a potato French fries, how we can adapt that to the Moroccan context or to the Lyon context or the Africa context. You can choose the local context, how you feel more comfortable. Of course, if you can discuss about Moroccan market, it's even better. But both of you are not from here, so maybe talk about Nigeria is suitable, of course. Or you can decide about Africa, or but so about this specific context. And I want that you decide how you choose this raw material, the processing methods that are proposing for this material, and how to be the appealing from your product. So the topic will be take one vegetable product and describe the processing methods and try to make it fit to a special context. This will be a reading assignment, 1 page, 2 top. I don't want more than that. Just choose on the see if you think about that. What do you think about that? And here we finish our first part of this predoc model, and I will send to you by email all the other instructions and the deadline that you can deliver your assignments. I hope that was clear. If it was not clear, of course, you know you can find me. Elizabeth will be traveling, but if you still need me when we are abroad, of course, you have my WhatsApp. Just reach me and we can discuss even more. Okay, so I hope that was clear enough. See you.